The moral of the story is blind stuff before you spend a whole bunch of money on them. For me, the 22A is still the king of stags. So even though these two other whiskeys were twice the price, they're just not as good, in my opinion, to my palate and to my opinion. So welcome to Whiskey and SV. I'm your host Sam, and tonight we're going to be drinking some Stagg. Well, as you know, I've been going through a period where I think the Stagg 22A is the king of all stags, bar none. Bar none, at least for the value that you get for it. Because, of course, there's the GTS, which is considerably more expensive and harder to find. We recently put the 22A against the GTS and batch 12, which is widely believed to be the best regular Stagg batch. And the 22A was on par with the GTS, actually slightly better than GTS. So um, whether that is true or not for you, I don't know. But for me and for Ralph at the one sitting that we had, and since then I did another sitting where I put this up against the GTS and it won again. So I think regardless of my FOMO to get into getting the latest and greatest BTAC, this to my palate is the best Stagg there is. But I've never put it up against the Hazmat store picks that I thought are amazing. So if you know on my channel before, I've had the Knob Hill 70.5%. And recently I acquired another hazmat that's even higher proof from California Food Mart. I believe this came in a bundle, so I think I had to pay something like $350, and it came with some really crappy bottles that I didn't want. So not cheap, but the Stagg hazmats used to go for really expensive prices on secondary. There seems to be more of them popping up, so I think prices are coming down for sure. It used to be a Stagg hazmat on secondary was like over $500. You can probably still find them for about 400. I've never seen one for under 400. So the question is, given that you can probably still find some people willing to sell you a 22A for 200 or less, how does it compare to one of the crazily priced hazmat ones just because they have a few percentage points more? By the way, the 22A is a 66.1% ABV or 132.2 proof. So it's no slouch. I mean, it's only 4 percentage points less ABV. But to find out, we're going to do a blind. All right, so as usual, I'm going to nose them first, then give you some notes, taste them, give you some notes, tell you my preferences, guess which is which, and then we'll do the review. Let's go for the first one. Okay. It's quite syrupy. A very recognizable Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 1 product. It does have a burn. If you're not careful, it definitely feels like it's got quite a lot of proof to it. Yeah, I think the ethanol comes across relatively noticeable in this. It's not a bad smell at all, but definitely you can't just like put your nose in and go for it. It'll burn your nose. All right, let's try the second one. Comparatively much more mellow, a little bit sweeter. The oak is there as well, but in a nice way. Definitely feels less intense than the first one. More flavors maybe, but just like less of the alcohol. This one has a lot more of the sort of alcohol notes to it. It has it tends more towards the spicy end of the Stagg batches that I've had rather than the more sweet. These two are definitely more on the sweet side. This one is more on the habanero pepper sort of side of things, which I guess is not a good thing for a Stagg because people do like Staggs to be sweeter. Yeah, so on the nose so far, I think probably my favorite is the middle one. This one is similar, but just seems higher. The alcohol is more. So if I would guess this is definitely one of the hazmats. And this one is like more off profile. It's more of a spicy thing. Okay, we'll go for the tasting. There's definitely some youth to that one. It definitely has the really nice sweet flavors, but at the same time, there is some youth to it, and it is, you can really feel the ethanol, like it's noticeable. However, when that dies down, there's a really nice lingering sweet oak that is just really, really great. I would say this is very good, bordering on excellent, but it's not quite there. All right, let's go to the second one. Nice. This one definitely is not as harsh as the first one. It comes across as much older. It comes across as just having better integrated flavors. All the oak or the sweetness, everything is well integrated. It's an excellent pour. I don't want to guess too early, but I would be surprised if this is not 22A. I I think the 22A is a special whiskey. All right. Um, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Let's go to third one. Again, this is more spicy than the other two. It doesn't feel as sweet. It doesn't have the same ethanol notes as the first one. It's just more spicy. I'm pretty sure this can't be 22A because 22A was definitely more on the sweet side. So interesting. Yeah, this is definitely different than the other two. I feel like it is more spicy and it has a little bit of a astringency that the other two don't have. It's definitely past the initial state. It feels like it's not opened up, to be honest. I don't know the sample that I was given for the CFM. It's possible that that was not that hadn't been aired enough. The sample that I got from my own Nob Hill, it was at the end of the bottle. I think I bottled like the last 2 ounces into that bottle. So I would be surprised if this is a Nob Hill one. I'm guessing this is a CFM one. Let me go again. There's definitely like more rye characteristic in this. It's like definitely more spicy. Um, yeah, it tends on the more spicy side of things than the other two, for sure. Okay, I'm gonna go one more time. We probably will fast forward these, but yeah, and then I'll come back and I'll give you my final guesses and conclusions. Now this one is beginning to be closer to this, but on the nose for sure, this was initially um, smelling like the way it tastes. This one came across as young, but the same profile as this. Okay, let's go to this. Yeah, this is so much smoother and more enjoyable than the other two. Not that the other two is not good. The other two are also great, but just yeah. Okay, I'm gonna summarize my thoughts. So the first one I think is probably one of the Hazmat one. If I was to guess, I would say it's a Nob Hill one. I do remember that to be a quite sweet pour, but it had a little bit of ethanol to it, and compared to the 22A, that if I remember correctly, I believe this must be the 22A because it's my favorite pour of tonight. It's not harsh at all on the nose, no alcohol burn at all, and it's quite complex. It comes across as older than the other two. It comes across as more, the oak comes across as more well integrated. Overall, definitely my favorite pour. I'm guessing it's 22A. And then the final pour was a different profile. I felt like it is a more spicy pour than the other two, maybe a little bit more rye forward. Um, not necessarily less enjoyable. I would say probably on par, but different than the first one. Definitely not as good as the second one. So yeah, I'm gonna guess that this is the California Food Mart one. So all right, those are my guesses. Let's do the reveal. The first one is number 3. Oh, okay, wow. This is the California Food Mart. Oh, okay, cool. Uh, this is the most important one. Okay, this is number 1. Yes. Okay, so this is the 22A. 22A is the king of the hill, and which would make this number 2. Okay. All right. So a little bit surprising for me. I thought the Nob Hill Stag was more sweet from what I remember, but it definitely is not. It tends, yeah, it definitely tends like it tends more towards a rye forward. And I know mash bill 1 is supposed to be less rye, but you know, for a mash bill 1, this does come across as more spicy habanero pepper kind of like notes. But this also comes across as young compared to the 22A. So, but the question is, should I keep them, or before prices come down too much, get rid of them and try to get something more special? I think honestly, I'm leaning towards getting rid of them and getting more 22As, because I think for the price, 22A cannot be beat. And even if you forget the price, it's better. It's the better whiskey. So if you can get two of these for the price of that, and it's the better whiskey, why wouldn't you do that? So I keep telling myself that, because it's something that should be a no-brainer. Like, why am I not selling everything that I think is not as good as the one that I love to get the one that I love? Yeah, this is a conundrum. I don't know why it's so hard for me to get to let go of whiskey and consolidate it on things that I love. Um, I think this is how my whiskey spend just got out of control, because I just get attached to bottles, even though I know like they're not as good as the secondary price. But for some reason, I have trouble letting go, even though clearly the 22A is, to my palate, right, much better than any of the other two. Anyways, I think I've been rambling too much. The moral of the story is, um, blind stuff before you spend a whole bunch of money on them. For me, the 22A is still the king of stags. So even though these two other whiskeys were twice the price, they're just not as good, in my opinion, to my palate and to my opinion. So, all right, well, I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I will see you next time. Cheers.